yeah. I'm little, but I'm loud, and I'm right here with you this morning. How you doing? Did you have a good weekend? Woohoo! I'm loud, I'm little, but yes, not as little as Penny. No, not quite. Anyways, how you doing? Did you have a good weekend? Boop, boop. Oh, my God, wasn't the weather just beautiful? Oh, my gosh, it was just fabulous. Oh, Josh, I love it when we have beautiful weather. We are starved for beautiful weather. Yep. Let's see. I'm getting all kinds of people wanting to know. Boop, boop. Heard a few police cars speeding through in Avondale. Do you know what's going on? Yes, that's right. I have no idea. I had another message come in from somebody else this morning. If anybody knows what's going on over there in Avondale, police cars speeding through, that is the word from my producers out there letting me know what's going on in the world. As I sit here in my bunker, in my bomb shelter right here on Durst Avenue. So, don't know what's going on over there. Do have a lot of things to talk about, but first up, let's check what the weather will be here. The weather. I've already been out with Penny here this morning, so it's pretty nice out there. Right now it is 52 degrees, feels like 48. We are looking for a high today of 63. Tonight will be a low of 47. Partly cloudy skies will become overcast during the afternoon. High of 63. And tonight, cloudy, low of 46. Now, before I forget, we're supposed to have a lunar eclipse. I believe it is Tuesday morning, and I'm doing this from memory, but I think I posted it on my Facebook page. I think between 6 and 7 a.m. is when we're supposed to be able to see it, but I am doing that from memory, so we better double check. But I did want to remind you, it is tomorrow morning, and it says the next one, I think, isn't until 2028, I think, so you better get out there and check it out tomorrow morning. Maybe we'll see what we can, if I can handle that. Okay. Lots of things to talk about. I happen to be working Friday night when the word came in that the U.S. was going ahead along with Israel to invade Iran. And I was sitting here working, and I looked up at the TV, and I went, I wonder what that is. Put my head back down, and then I went, whoa. So I checked it out. A lot of people woke up Saturday morning just to find out that this was going on. You got to say this. Our military is just par excellent, folks. They got in there, did the job along with Israel. They are still bombing, still working with Israel. There's been, I think, Saudi Arabia and a couple of the other countries have come on board. Did find it interesting that the Prime Minister of England has said that we can use their bases, our bases over there, but they really don't want any involvement. All of these countries, I guess, this is what they're saying, have so much of a Muslim population because they've let so many people in that they have a problem here. Because if they come out and say they're supporting the U.S. and that they'll help in any way, they could have an uprising from their Muslim friends there in England, Germany, etc. So they are not getting involved in it, but they will let us use their bases. I just saw they were talking about that we have had 3 casualties. I just saw a news come across my desk that said there are now 4 deaths. And of course, the president said going in that this could be a possibility, and it is. And so now I think we had 3 lives lost, and 5 seriously injured. I believe I just saw where another one has died. This is, of course, very, very sad, and we do so much, are indebted to those who gave their lives for this. But what do you think about the United States invading Iran? You know, my 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. I honestly think we had given them all the opportunity to do the right thing. They refused to do the right thing. So what the heck, right? What the heck? You have to do something about this. Otherwise, your word becomes empty. So I will say this. I'm all over the board this morning. I got a lot to talk about. I will say this. I think Lindsey Graham may have found the thing that can keep him in his job with South Carolina. You know, when he was up for re-election before, it was the Kavanaugh and the Supreme Court. Well, I think he's found his issue now. He's with Trump on this, and this, that, and the other. But we can always count on Lindsey Graham to find an issue that will make sure that will cement his position in South Carolina. So I just wanted to mention that. But seriously, folks, what a display of our military being able to go in and precision type along with Israel to take out, 40 plus the supreme leader. Who knows how many others have been taken out. But wow. This certainly is a day that after 47 years, and how many leaders have said they were going to do it, did nothing, and President Trump did. You'd say a lot of things about President Trump, but he does stand up for America. He does stand up for people. And for that, I think he should be commended. Regardless of what you feel about some of the other stuff, he has done tremendous things in the world. So, I'm not going to talk much about it. It's in the news everywhere. Everybody, of course, is talking about it. I did just want to make a couple of comments here this morning. So, what do we got to talk about? We got a lot. I'm going to just list out whether we get to all the topics here today or not. I don't know. The data center in Spartanburg. I think that's an interesting article and has implications here in Greenwood County. Following up, the city has hired a group to be lobbyists. I'm kind of musing as to what that is about. Does the city need a lobbyist? We'll come back to that one. The Fats building looks like we're going to have another Mexican restaurant, just in case you were curious. I think we're going to have to call Greenwood Little Mexico, or maybe Big Mexico. We've got so many Mexican restaurants. How many Mexican restaurants do we have, Ann? I don't even know, but we have a lot of Mexican restaurants. All right, let's see. Oh, yes, I wanted to talk about the Biden coming to South Carolina. Now, is it important in the scheme of things? No. I'll go ahead and tell this story because I love this story so much. So I'm listening to this great radio station, WCRS, and we have our news come on, and it's talking about that Biden, this was on Friday, was coming to South Carolina, and they're going to have a special dinner and yada yada to remember when South Carolina turned the tide for Biden. I'm not sure I would look at that as a positive thing, South Carolina Democrats, but whatever. But here's what I found interesting. This is a pregnant pause so that you'll pay attention. Okay. The news said they were selling tickets to the event to see him. It was, tickets were $100. And then this is what they said. After you buy your ticket, we'll tell you where the event is. What? They were too afraid to say they were having it wherever they ended up having it. I didn't even pay any attention after that. But I'm just like, that is totally odd. Who buys a ticket to an event and doesn't know where it is? Well, I guess you could say it should have been in Columbia, so therefore they should have known. But come on, buy your ticket, $100, and then we'll tell you where to go. Sounds kind of freaky to me, folks. But anyways, I guess they were afraid that somebody would buy tickets and try to, I don't know, what was the deal? They were having this event. Why didn't they just stand up for the event and say, hey, we're having it? Another couple of things that I thought were very odd about former President Biden coming to South Carolina, that he rode coach, okay, and there didn't appear to be anybody else with him. His wife wasn't with him. Now, I'm sure there were some Secret Service detail that were with him. But the shots of him on the plane just showed him sitting next to somebody right there. Then you look over, and there's President Biden sitting right next to you. Pretty interesting, huh? So I just was shocked that the Democratic Party was not willing to tell you where this event was. You were supposed to buy your tickets, and once you've paid the money, we'll tell you where you're going so that you can see former President Biden. All right. That was one of my interesting stories here. Data centers, if you live near them, is there any health risks? We've got a story about that. And I got a lot of stories here. Let's see, what else did I have pulled up here this morning for stories? Well, blank screen, Ann. Looks like you don't have a lot. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sleep shaming. Have you ever been sleep shamed? I have. I have been sleep shamed. And what they're saying about it. Have you heard about this product called Skunkies? I find all the neat and important things to talk about. Skunkies. Yes, it's true. We've got some serious topics here. Really, I do. I wanted to talk about what happened over there in Calhoun Falls at the hearing that they had. Maybe we should delve in and talk about that one. The Judge Addy, it was Judge Addy, has tightened oversight of Calhoun Falls after the town's water debt in Abbeville surpassed $600,000. Judge Addy called the situation inherently unfair. This is from the article that was in Sunday's paper of the Index Journal, saying it's inequitable for the town to receive water if it isn't paying for it. Well, yes, while he stopped short of sanctions or appointing a receiver, he ordered structured financial oversight, including weekly remittance of water revenues and greater transparency. The town's new administration says it inherited years of mismanagement, including missing records, broken meters, but is working to stabilize operations. The Judge Addy, did say that stronger court action could follow if progress isn't made, and so the case is still pending. But I think some of the most interesting parts of the article were, Calhoun Falls talking about why they couldn't do things like they had, 455 broken meters or something. But also Chatty, who just kept sitting there in amazement going, I'm paraphrasing, really, folks? Really? You haven't paid them in this amount of time? I mean, the story goes on and on and on, and really is part of the reason that one has to question whether the mayoral style of government, and this is a question I have asked some of our legislators and everything, candidates, particularly our candidates, whether the mayoral style of government is a good style of government in today's world. Smaller communities that cannot afford to have a board like the city council with a mayor and then have a city administrator really get into lots of problems. Calhoun Falls, that's one example. Saluda, 96. Look at some of these smaller ones where the mayor actually is supposed to be an administrator too. This really causes a lot of problems, and this really just highlights that even more. So I thought I wanted to summarize that real quick because that is one that is going to keep giving back to our community, keep giving back to the community. So that's another one that is out there for interest. 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. So that is an article I wanted to cover on the local. Now, I had some other things I wanted to cover here this morning. Had a, you know how when you went somewhere and you had a great time, like maybe you went to the Mellow Mushroom and you had this really good pizza with creamy ricotta on the top of it, hot honey and pepperoni, and it was so delicious. Maybe you went there right around Christmas time in Greenville and looked at the lights, and it was so cool. And you thought, why don't we do this again? And you had a little something to celebrate. So you call some friends and you go up there. And then one of the people ordered a salad. And they part of the reason they ordered the salad is because it came with sliced avocado on it. And then the salad comes and the waiter tells you, I'm sorry, we're out of avocado. So you go, okay. Yeah, it would have been nice if you told me before. Then they bring the pizza, and I look at the pizza and I go, where's the ricotta? Oh, we're out of ricotta. I was like, part of the reason we got the pizza, we had a big discussion about making sure we had the right pizza with the waiter there. No ricotta. So he never told us, oh, we're out of ricotta. You just brought it and plopped it on the table. Okay. So, well, that's okay. I mean, the pizza was good and the company was exceptional. So then the other part of the trip that I wanted to do was to go to, the old European dessert place right there in downtown Greenville. Now, when we're driving up, I wanted to repeat of a cool trip. And what I realized is, truthfully, you can't ever repeat anything. You can maybe say that was fun, let's go again. But when we were there at Christmas time, we had wanted to go there after Mellow Mushroom to go there for dessert. Well, we got there 5 minutes after they closed. So we're driving up to Greenville, and I said, maybe we should go to the old European dessert place and get our desserts first, and then we can get a cup of coffee anywhere. So somebody looks up. Oh, they're open till 11:30 or 12 o'clock at night. No problem. I was like, okay. Well, we go over after we've had our nice little dinner there. So delicious. Other than it didn't have the ricotta and it didn't have the avocado, yada, yada. Okay. So we go to the European dessert place and we walk in. And basically, they're out of desserts. They'd had a really busy evening. There was no bread pudding for one of the people that wanted bread pudding. I didn't have a preconceived idea. I think I was thinking about the tiramisu because that was so delicious. They were out of that. They were out of this. I mean, it was basically, and this was at, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And they were still open till midnight, I think, or 11:30. So they were out of everything. So I picked out something and it was delicious. It was delicious. And then we came home. But I was like, what happened to this fabulous eating of food that we so much wanted, and there was all gone or not available? Anyways, that's just a little aside. But I was just thinking about the fact sometimes you think you want to go do something, and you want it to be a repeat of what you had done, and it's just never the same. It's just never the same, is it? So I just thought I would mention that. All right, other things that are interesting out there. This thing about data centers, I think, just adds another layer. You know, Elon Musk is talking about putting data centers on other planets. I think it's not a bad idea. It really is quite on point. You know, we talk about the amount of electricity and whatnot that these things eat up. So there are now studies. I think I heard a study this morning. So I went in real quick and did some research about these data centers and what they are doing to us. And actually, there is some problem with these data centers, and they haven't really come up with exactly what it's doing, right? But it is causing some problems. What have they found out? Well, the main health concerns around data center proximity are indirect. That is, they center on environmental impacts that could affect health. Poor air quality from generators or power sources, noise pollution, and sleep disruption, and of course the strain on local infrastructure. But direct links like EMF-based cancer risk have not been scientifically established. So they do have some issues, though. So as these data centers are looking at coming into areas, one of the things that people should be aware of, it was saying this morning that those living within half a mile, a little over half a mile, could have effects from these data centers. Researchers and environmental groups note that data centers can affect communities in several ways, particularly through air pollution, like diesel generator emissions, and noise from cooling systems and backup power. These environmental stressors have been linked to studies to issues such as asthma, sleep disturbance, and cardiovascular strain in nearby populations. However, there's no established scientific evidence that living near a data center directly causes cancer or similar diseases simply because of its operations. Many scientists emphasize that the primary health risks come from pollutants and environmental factors associated with how the centers are powered or cooled, not the servers themselves. So there's a lot of ongoing debate on this, but I thought that is an interesting point. And one of the points I wanted to bring up is, you know, in Spartanburg, they have been battling, the folks have been battling the data centers that was looking to come to Spartanburg. Friday afternoon, we've been talking about this, and the people were definitely against it. Well, there was not a lot, actually, I guess, that they could do about the zoning of this, but the county, Spartanburg County, was getting ready to give them a lot of perks for locating, tax cuts, incentives, etc., for locating there in Spartanburg. Well, the people were so upset about this and were raising such a stink about this. Spartanburg was going to have to make a decision whether to or not to give these perks, these tax incentives, etc., to the company that was coming there. Friday afternoon, before any decision has been made about that, the company backed out of coming to Spartanburg and will now be looking at a place in North Carolina. Now, I'm sure the council is saying this is a great loss for the community, but the people in the community are celebrating the fact that they are not bringing that here. I thought that was a huge win for the power of the people. And that those that are organizing here in our community should take that under advisement, that when they think that they cannot make a difference, that they are making a difference. There are a lot of industry that comes and gets huge tax advantages for coming into our communities. And if enough, I guess we could say, stink was made about it, some of these communities would, some of these industries would decide not to come to our area where we the people, a select group, whatever you want to call this, don't want it. And so that you really have a lot more power than maybe you're thinking that you do. In the latest case, on Old Abbeville Highway there, where they're wanting to build 100+ housing development, the people are organizing and have been quite vocal, and I'm sure will be continuing to be quite vocal. But the interesting thing about that, they can't really stop it, I don't believe, because the property's already been zoned for 100 homes, and what the developer wanted was to change it up so it could be up to 107. But they still can build with 100 homes. But the question is, when people make this big, I'll say as big a stink about it, in the case of the data center in Spartanburg said it's not worth it. We don't want to come here. We're reading the handwriting on the wall. This will be a constant problem, so they did not come. So futuristically, when we look at things that are coming into our area that are thinking that they are going to get big tax incentives to come here, maybe the voice that these groups are developing is more valuable than what they currently thought. For example, I know that the solar farm is an issue that is going to be coming back up in county council because Duke is going to ask for incentives to develop the property to make it more affordable for them to build this huge solar farm. A lot of people were upset about the solar farm coming in. They thought they had an issue with the zoning. But then, miraculously, and I still think this is miraculous, county council, they had come in front of county council to ask for a zoning variance. You may remember this from last year. And then miraculously, they didn't need a zoning variance. But they are coming back to ask for incentives on this program. I think it'd be interesting to see how much people are going to be saying about giving incentives for the business. Now, from county council's perspective, I am equally as sure that they feel that they are doing good things to bring business and to bring industry and to bring jobs to our area. So it is, in all cases, a slippery slope and must be balanced. But if we really feel that something is not to our benefit, then the very fact that people are organizing and speaking up is a positive thing and is the way government is supposed to work. It's supposed to be government by the people. And so I just wanted to bring that up. I think that in Spartanburg is a huge win for the folks. May not be a huge win for the community and the dollars, et cetera, but it was a huge win to show that people can stand up and they can make a difference, and that people that are elected to office don't just get to make the decisions. So, there you go. That was my subject on that. There's another one that is a huge issue coming up this week in the, where is it? In the, is this it? In the, choosing judges down there in Columbia. There is a huge one coming up, and this is an article that was in Fitz News, and it's actually an opinion piece / story about what is getting ready to happen down there. In fact, it's supposed to happen on, I think it is March 4th, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, what is it? Wednesday is what judge will be in the slot. I want to talk about this because this is definitely why we don't want our legislatures choosing our judges. I'm not sure who should choose it. You know, we have a big deal. We don't want them to run for office because they'd be beholden to the people or the big people that gave money. We don't want the legislature doing it because this article is going to show you what's happening here. And so I'm just going to talk about this. The so-called Faith and Freedom Dark Money Group is attacking an incumbent South Carolina Supreme Court justice just days before state lawmakers are scheduled to vote on his renomination to the bench. As the 2026 legislative elections draw nigh, Associate Justice John Few has found himself on the receiving end of a barrage of statewide text missives emanating from the shadowy, as I said, this is written by Will Folks, so, you got to take it for what it is, Columbia, South Carolina-based entity. The messages attributed to the so-called Faith and Freedom Coalition assailed Few for allegedly engaging in deadly judicial activism related to a 2023 abortion ruling. Few is derided in the ads as a known judicial activist who is responsible for thousands of abortions. The other side of this could be that maybe he nixed the law that the legislators had been asking for, that ended up where they ended up in front of our South Carolina Supreme Court, saying that it doesn't hold muster. It's not strong enough. If you want something that's going to hold up, you need to do better. That really was the aside that was done. He had further accused Few of turning the Palmetto State into the southeast abortion destination, alleging thousands of lives were lost as a result of him casting the deciding vote that struck down our Heartbeat Act with no constitutional basis. And this text was saying, vote no. As previously reported, many South Carolina lawmakers remain livid with Few for forcing them to go back to the drawing board to rewrite a controversial abortion statute in 2023. They reluctantly, the lawmakers, complied, and Few and his fellow justices signed off on the revised law last spring. The question is, did he engage in judicial activism at any point during this process? No, according to Will Folks. His rulings merely guided lawmakers as they crafted a bill capable of passing constitutional muster. Frankly, legislators should be thanking him for his job, not trying to throw him off the bus or under the bench or off the bench. Nonetheless, state lawmakers are eager to send few and all justices who have the audacity to faithfully execute their oaths a message that dissent of any kind will not be tolerated. See, this is where our legislators are trying to control the bench. They only want people that are willing to vote the way they see it. They, the legislators, see it. Instead of recognizing the importance of a constitutional separation of powers, they are tightening their vice grip over the ostensibly independent judicial branch of government, tapping former South Carolina House of Representatives, Speaker Jay Lewis, to replace Few on the High Court. This is a most interesting story from that standpoint. Lucas has no judicial experience. He is a lawyer, but he has no judicial judgeship experience. And he's 3 years away from the court's mandatory retirement and recently experienced some health issues that almost forced him from the race. So the question is, South Carolina is one of only 2 states in America in which legislators pick judges, and the only state in the nation where lawmakers control the nominating process preceding those for legislative elections. This process has led to, according to Will Folks and a lot of others, rampant corruption, prompting a growing movement intent on fixing the system. So, several key Senate leaders have expressed concerns about Lucas's nominations, but his former chamber, the House, has, with limited exception, been marching in lockstep, operating under the current South Carolina House Speaker, Merle Smith. According to Will Folks sources, Few has only 12 to 15 votes lined up to support him in the House, well short of the number he would need to be competitive against Lucas in the upcoming election. Well, here is the interesting part to this story. And I find this actually brilliant, but sad, but very sad. As Will Folks says, there is potential wrinkle to this process which could throw Lucas's ascendancy to the High Court in jeopardy. According to the South Carolina laws, if Few were to withdraw from consideration ahead of the upcoming vote on March 4th, the election for the office may not be held at the scheduled time. Such a move would force the scandal-scarred South Carolina Judicial Merit Selection Commission to make other nominations for the office as though a new vacancy without an incumbent exists in that office, including reopening the application process with all required notices. In other words, were Few to drop out of the race, it would restart the process. They're saying that because Justice Few is a realist, he fully understands that neither he nor any sitting judge could survive a contested race against the former Speaker of the House, who is being supported by the current Speaker of the House. He recognized the political realities at play. So it is very, very possible, and this is going to be a story to watch for the next couple of days, before the 4th. They vote on the 4th. So as long as he drops out before the 4th, he could throw a monkey wrench in Jay Lucas becoming the next judge on the Supreme Court of South Carolina. What do you think about that? 864-332-9355. Now, we all wonder that all these issues talking about what is happening with the courts, do they need to redo? They've spent a lot of time down there in Columbia talking about it. I just wonder where this will lead. And do you think that this is why we need to change things? I'd say yes. I'd say absolutely yes. So, anyways, I found it interesting. I'm going to be watching it, and I will bring you the details as they become available. But most interesting point of view on the inside ramifications of politics and how things are maneuvered in such a way to make it to make legislators get what they want. But should legislators be nominating judges? No, I don't think so. I think we need to have a more open process. We need to not have certain judges put in a position where they are beholden to the office that put them, to the body, legislatures that put them there. Such a mess. You know, the more you know about politics, the less you really want to know, right? Sometimes I think that is true. But that is right here in South Carolina. I can remember, I don't know what judge it was that was being ascended to the throne. I could look it up, but this thought just popped in my head. I can remember being told that that the bodies, this House and the Senate, were very glad that whoever the judge was that they had nominated, because now they had a lock on the abortion bill. Is that really what we want? Is that people that vote the way the House and the Senate wants you to vote? What has happened to separation of power? That is what I have a question about. What has happened to separation of power? I don't think we have it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems in holding us back. No legislative body should have the supremo power. The Supreme Court the Supreme Court of the nation should not be controlling whether people can be any of the things that are going on with Donald Trump. Most of the time, we have people that just vote against because it's Donald Trump. Is it actually the law? And that is where a judge is supposed to sit. Away from public opinion, away from all these other things. They're supposed to be a judge. All right. Anyways, that was just something that I found most interesting that I wanted to talk about. Other things that I find musicful and fun to talk about. Well. Well. Let's see if I can find what I'm looking for now. Nope. We've talked about that one. Okay, not that one. Come on, Ann, where is it? Okay, we can put it back up. The other day, I must have lost it. The other day, maybe it's here. Yes, here it is. The other day, was it last week? Whatever. City Council voted on a group they went into executive session to talk about an issue, and they did, and then they came out and they voted on this issue. Okay. Well, okay. All right. They voted on this issue. So, and they didn't really say much about what they were doing. So I guess my question was, what is this about? And so I decided to look up about it and see what it was about. And I got to find my notes here one second. And we're going to chat about it just a little bit. Because it seems like Parker Poe Consulting Services, and they're also attorneys and counselors at law. So I look up what this company is about, Parker Poe, attorneys and counselors at law, and explore our capabilities, government relations and lobbyings. Parker Poe has a proven record of helping clients across the country successfully navigate the halls of government at the federal, state, and local levels. Our team utilizes a network of personal relationships in state and federal agencies, Congress, and state legislators to provide each of our clients a lobbying strategy with clear objectives and outcomes. This strategy is supported by advising clients on the inner workings of the American political system and helping them achieve policy priorities, shape and draft legislation, and manage regulatory risks. When clients need solutions on Capitol Hill, at the White House, or before federal agencies, the law firm works alongside Parker Poe Federal Strategies, blah, 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 led by so-and-so, for lobbying services. Our team of attorneys and consultants have a deep understanding of clients' perspectives and a significant track record of developing and advancing federal lobbying strategic plans. In the nation's capital, in North Carolina and in South Carolina, through the support of Parker Poe Consulting, our team represents clients in a variety of sectors, including healthcare, local government, education, energy, technology, blah, blah, blah. We represent a broad range of job creators expanding and locating across the United States and throughout the Americas. So I really don't know. What the city has decided, and I think they said they had made a motion to take on this company, Parker Poe, for the next 4 months, which kind of coincides with the end of legislative session, which technically ends in May. So, but you know how things have a tendency to run over down there in the legislature. But what exactly does the city need help with that they can't directly contact our legislators? This is my question. What is it that they are not able to speak for themselves? I mean, we have 3 legislators for Greenwood. We have Senator Billy Garrett, Representative Daniel Gibson, and Representative John McCravey. I find it a little hard to believe that they would need a lobbyist and to spend our money for a lobbyist just to be able to have conversations with them. Anyways, I just thought I'd bring that up because I think that we'll have to see what this is all about, and I hope more questions are raised about this because it is a question. Hiring a lobbyist group is not cheap, but could they have done the work themselves, working with our legislative delegation? Senator Billy Garrett, Representative John McCravey, and Representative Daniel Gibson. I do believe that our legislative delegation is all for making sure that we, the city of Greenwood, the county of Greenwood, get what's necessary and would not want us overlooked when other cities and counties and communities are getting what they need. You know, part of the legislative process is that if you have a need, if you have something, you take it to them, then they take it and present it down there to get included in the state budget. We've really done away with, quote, earmarks, but they still are doing things that bring home the bacon, Even though it's not called an earmark anymore. They are still bringing home things that our communities need. That is the appropriate way to do it. But I just question, why do we need somebody to speak for us and direct us, and I using us, meaning the city, the county, to help with this. So if anybody has any information about this, I would love to know. 864-332-9355. Why do we need lobbyists to lobby on our behalf when we should have good relationships with our three legislators? And we're not even dealing with a large group. It's just three, 2 representatives and 1 senator. It would seem that we should be able to work this out, but maybe I am missing a point. Just something I was thinking about this morning. All right, now I have one more story. I've actually gotten through a lot more than I thought I would this morning. All right, I have one more story for you. I'm sitting there watching TV the other night, or the other afternoon, or whatever it was, and I was taken aback by a product called Skunkies. I was like, I wasn't even paying attention. And most of the time, if the commercials come on, I just click them on, click it off the sound. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, this product Skunkies comes up. I'm like, wait a minute, let me watch this. So have you heard about Skunkies, the 60-second shower? Amazing. We couldn't come up with something a little less obnoxious? This is the status of our country. Skunkies. It's a rinse-free cleaning wipe that lets you freshen up without stepping into a shower. Just add a little water to the soap-infused sponge, work it into a lather, scrub and dry. There's no rinsing or sticky residue. It's marketed as a quick way to stay clean when you're camping, at the gym, traveling, or helping someone who can't easily shower. Now, of course, these products have a viable place to be. Absolutely. By calling it Skunkies, you couldn't come up with another name that would be less offensive? Then it goes on and says, well, people find it handy. It's not a full replacement for a traditional shower. Thank God. I'd hate to have to ask somebody, did you skunky this morning? Or did you take a shower? And you know how you have to ask your kids, are you sure you took a shower this morning? Well, I can see everybody going, no, Ma, I skunked this morning. Oh, my God. Skunkies, the way of the future. No longer do you have to take a shower. You can just skunky yourself up or be less skunky. Maybe that's the idea. Skunky must be smelling bad, so skunky is the way to go. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Oh, my God. What a story. What a story. Skunkies, the way of the world. No longer do you have to take a shower. Just take a skunky. I'm sorry. Oh, my gosh. I am just so tired of the way we're just dumbing down our lifestyle. And pretty soon it will be California, probably, because they have lack of water and everything. They'll be supplying people with skunkies. Instead of taking a shower, they'll be handing those out. Here, we don't have any water, but here, have a skunky. You'll be all right. Oh, my gosh. This is the world we live in. We're so technologically advanced, we're stupid. All right, I was going to talk about, what time is it? I was going to talk about sleep shaming, but we'll save that for another day. That's not really that important. What is important is that we that keep our prayers and our hopes for the people of Iran, that we pray for our people, that they stay safe in everything that they are doing, and the after effects of this invasion of Iran. Where will this lead us? I already hear, I haven't been out and checked the gas prices today, but I've heard that gas prices are going through the roof. So, this is part of it. But I also wonder, in closing, I wonder what effect this will have on Russia and the Ukrainian war, what effect that will have on that, and what effect will it have with China, and how they had become pretty close to Iran, although they have given no support to Iran, at least none that we have seen yet. So, as we close this story up, remember, keep a supply of skunky in your office desk. Keep a supply of skunky in your car. Make sure the kids have skunky, because there's nothing worse than a skunky smell. That's going to do it for me today. This is WCRS Radio signing off. We'll be back in the morning, so let's take it away. Have a good one, everybody. Penny, you got anything to say? Yeah, let's go eat. All right, we're going to go eat. That'll do it for us. Bye-bye, everybody. We're going to put the curtain down, take the curtain down, and we're going to say adieu. Bye-bye, everybody.